The issue is the depiction that this is how it should have gone. The issue is trying to control it when we're all individuals. There's 8 billion people, I think, on this planet. To ever believe that 8 billion people's lives are going to unfold within one depiction of life is, again, to me, just such an illusion.
Hello. Welcome back to the Daily Humans podcast. I'm Nina.
I'm Ashley.
Welcome back, you guys. This is the ASMR.
Yes, we like ASMR. We like ASMR.
Episode.
I like tapping. I really like ASMR a lot. We're just going to start doing that today. Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
I can hear it.
Does it sound good or no?
I'm not really a tapper person, but yeah, I guess.
How can you not be a tapper person? What do you think this is? ASMR is about tapping as well. My friend, I'm so disappointed. I'm going to have to refund you for another friend.
Oh, welcome back, you guys.
Transition. You go from like soft speaking and a transition to, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I was trying to like make that a little bit more smooth so we don't jump scare anybody listening in. They're like turning up their volume and then it's like, yeah.
And I imagine if they were falling asleep, just imagine if they were, and then all of a sudden it's like, welcome back, guys. How are you doing? What's up?
We should definitely do an ASMR episode one of these days, just to spicing it up, you know?
That.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
And if you don't like ASMR, then you don't have to watch it. Oh, shock horror.
Yes, it's okay. You guys can skip that one.
Exactly.
Actually, I would be quite excited for it because this microphone that I have can do echo really well. So I feel like ASMR would be really good on this mic. But yeah, anyway, we digress. Hello, guys. How's everybody doing listening? Are we thriving? Are we being flirty? Are you in your 30s? If not, then that's okay. We can thrive and we can be flirty at all ages. Like us, we are flirty and thriving in healing and other things. And in sickness, we are still thriving. Today, we are meeting up with you guys for this beautiful romantic experience of life and transitioning out of illnesses and funks and moving and easing back. I don't know what I'm talking about, honestly, guys. Just welcome back. How are you? We're not going to edit this out. This is going to be part of the show because we're here to embrace the imperfections. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to be like news anchors. Or do we, Ashley? I feel like we should do a skit where it's like, you know, when they wait a little bit to reply, where it's like, That's right, Ashley. Today we are here with our guests from the Daily Humans podcast. Can we get a round of applause? Woo! Yeah, it's the best podcast ever, man. That was not me. That was a guest over there. Her name was Bina. It wasn't me. It was Bina. Not Nina, Bina. Okay.
Bina. Good job, Bina. Thank you so much for shouting out our podcast. We appreciate you so very much.
Yeah, totally.
We enjoy having you watching our episode. We are so excited for you. Thank you so much, Bina. Thank you.
You're so cool, Bina. Shout out to Bina and her family, y'all. Like we gotta get up in here and party. Yeah, totally. Thanks so much. We love our fans. We love our fans. By the way,
party. Yeah.
Segue real quick. I do not like, this is my personal pet peeve, when people that have YouTube channels or normal people say fans. I do not like that. I like supporters, listeners, watchers, friends, whatever. Fans feels very, oh my God, I have fans. I have fans, and yes, I'm going to pick up the mic for this. I have fans because I'm so amazing. My fans, love you guys. Do you want to sign autograph? It's like get off of it. I'm sorry. It's a personal thing. Doesn't have to be a you thing, Ash. But I don't like it. I don't like when normal people say to other people that I have fans. I have fans too. It's blowing right now in my room because it's hot. So
And I'm freezing.
I wanted to
It's
segue
hilarious.
into something, but I'm not going to do it. So it's fine. That was one segue. We don't need to do more. We already had our what's the word? Our kind of like crazy episode last week. So I'm going to dial it down for this one. We're going to be cool people.
Oh yeah, totally cool, totally tubily cool, yeah. And how does we have to be women? Like poise, silent, perfection. Yes.
Totally, Ashley. We totally
Mm.
do need.
Women do not laugh. We laugh like ha 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 like that. We cover our mouth when we laugh. It's improper when you don't.
Yes.
Ha ha.
You must cut pays, not grab it. Listen, you have to cut it with a knife. You have to be proper. On this
Yes.
podcast, we're proper people. We don't do none of that like unruly, like inhibited stuff. Like we're very correct and firm and very German. Welcome.
Keep your elbows off the table now.
Yes.
Elbows off. It's not very ladylike. It's not human-like. And we are a perfection society, remember? Perfection is the key. It's the driven. It's the motive. It's the mode. You be. Be perfecto.
Yes. Absolutely. And we are the perfect models for that. So if you would like to be perfect, if you want to know what it's like, I want you guys to stick around for this episode, because if you just watch, you'll be perfect too. There's just simply no other way. You need to watch perfect people in order to be perfect, and we're the most perfect that there will ever be. And if anybody else tells you, they're just lying. You know, we're perfect. If you look up the word right now, you'll see our faces in the dictionary. So that's really settle in.
Shave. Do you shave? Do you shave? Do I shave? Does everyone shave? Because you have to. Because if you
What is hair?
Hairy, what is hair?
What is hair? I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's not meant to be on anywhere else on your body but your head and your eyebrows and your eyelashes.
You mean the stuff that's on animals?
As a woman.
How could you? I'm not an animal. What are you suggesting right now? Like, Ashley, we don't have hair.
I am suggesting that you definitely grow hair.
I don't know what that is.
Wait a second, sweetheart. You hit the puberty, right?
What's puberty?
Oh my gosh.
I was born this way.
I'm sure you were, honey, but I'm also sure that your voice deepened the moment that you turned a certain age by hitting the puberty.
Deepened?
You hit your puberty?
I'm not a man. My voice doesn't deepen. It gets higher because I'm a very proper lady. And that's why I just really want you guys to know that I really appreciate you guys watching, because You are the wind beneath my wings, and you make us more perfect every single day. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like Ariana Grande. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. No, wait. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. She has a more. Anyway, on to this episode.
Nina's not gonna-
What?
That went always shape and form. I'll teach you something. Cut it out. Cut it out. How cool is that? Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
I have no idea what's happening right now. It's
Oh,
Oh.
I'm teaching you something. Have you ever seen it before where you go, cut it out?
No.
Cut it out. You can do it when someone is pissing you off. You just go, cut it out.
I'm
Cut
pissing
it
you
out.
off? Oh my God, Ashley.
But you're pissing me off.
Yeah, am I pissing you off?
Yeah, I'm going to explain.
That's what this
Germany,
episode will
get
be
off the
about.
plane,
This is going
get
to be
off
like
the
a
plane,
therapy
come to
session.
your house.
It's gonna
I've already got the plane tickets booked. I'm taking the plane. Getting off the plane. Going to your house, knocking on your door, ring-a-tang-tang, open your door. You open your door, there I am. And then we fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't fight with our fists because we're ladies.
Yes.
We fight with our words.
Proper ladies.
What was that?
Proper ladies. We are proper ladies. Ladies and gentlemen.
You sound like the girl from Pitch Perfect. You know, the one that's
No.
very soft-spoken. Have you
No.
seen Pitch Perfect?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Here we go
Yeah.
again. All the more reason. So you haven't seen it?
I have.
Oh, you have. You know the girl that speaks really soft and you can't really hear her?
Oh yeah, I just remembered her. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you reminded me of just then. You know, I feel like me coming to Germany and trying to fight you, I could just totally see how that's going to go down.
Yeah.
I can just say it. I can see into the future. I come to your door, you open the door, and then except for just being like, I've had it, we just start screaming and crying, and then like, let's go out to eat some dinner.
Yeah. We'll be crying while we're screaming.
Yeah.
So it'll be us, our energy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Your whole suburb, wherever you are, will know, will hear
Yeah.
us. The whole of
Yeah.
Germany will hear us. It's probably the
Mm.
most exciting thing that's happened in Germany in a long time. Just the scream of friendship,
Probably. Yeah.
the joy of friendship.
We gotta riot sometimes, you know. Oh gosh.
Speaking of like amazing human beings, let's just say her name, Nicola Coughlan.
Mm.
Nicola Coughlan. You are absolutely the moment. Why we want to talk about her also is because it's in line with the topic of conversation today. I had no idea that she was 37. Absolutely no idea.
Mm.
And when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, because I'm a Bridgerton watcher and she does not. You would never depict her as in her 30s for the character that she played.
Yeah.
No way, Jose. But mostly we want to talk about her because also she is 37. Actually, don't quote me, but I think Dairy Girls was her first sort of awakening into the world of acting. I think. Don't quote me. I think it was when she was I think Dairy Girls is what got her into this breakthrough of being seen a lot more. Again, I cannot fully vouch on that, but the main thing that I know is that it started for her in her 30s, I believe. because she talks about what her 20s was like. And that is kind of the topic of conversation for this episode, is showcasing why the timeline that is projected onto us doesn't actually exist, and why it doesn't fit the narrative for every human being. Just to start to break that down and really show you all how many people have been able to find glorious things for themselves at 30, 40, 50. Really, let's break down the enforcement of timeline is what we'll
Yes.
be doing this episode.
Yes.
Break it down, like punch it down. Imagine it's a wall. Go to a smash room, right on there. Have to have everything done in my 20s. Like write it on a plate and
Oh,
just
yeah.
smash it against the wall.
Mm.
And use all that gusto and energy and just wham. Yeah.
That would be a
It's great.
good, yeah, that's a good therapy advice. I love that
Yeah.
actually. I think that's amazing because you're right. I have heard so many people talk about how kind of piggybacking off of what we mentioned here and there in our last episode, but just how life gets better when you're in your 30s as opposed to your 20s. Um, it is from what I hear, because I'm not in my 30s yet, I'm 27, turning 28. But from what I've heard, even recently, up until like 2 days ago, when it comes to certain things happening in your life or not happening in your life, people always or consistently at this point have said to me that in your 30s, there's somehow like this switch that gets flipped where you are so much more secure in yourself and you don't really look outside anymore for validation, and that things the when they come at you, you know how to deal with them better. And to me, as somebody who's in her late 20s, I'm very much about accountability. We talk about this all the time in the podcast. At this point you should
Mm.
know, but um unless you're a new watcher, hey, hi, I love accountability. Ashley does too. um
Get on
and
it.
for me, it's like, well, you don't just wake up being this way, right? You don't just wake up, I'm accountable. Hi, Mrs. Accountable, Mr. Accountable. It's something that happens
Mhm.
in a process, and control of mine is like, well, what do I have to do in order to get there? But being 27, moving into 28 now, I definitely feel the shift myself, where it feels a lot more I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I am just trying to make a life for me and make sure that that aligns with my values and what I deem is right for myself. Um, Not projecting it, of course, onto others, but for myself personally. I don't know if you have the same thing, but I would love for anybody who is experiencing this, for you guys to chime in, or you, Ash, where it's like the second, and this is funny because you actually brought it up in this episode as well. When I hear any video with like, hey guys, where it's past a certain audible, it's not audible the app, but like vocal spot vocal range. What's another word for audible? Just like the tone of voice, the how loud you are. It just immediately turns me off. And it's interesting because typically people do that to attract young listeners. And it's just, I find it all funny that how we look at things, how we consume things changes so drastically in such a short amount of time. Because I know when I was in my teens, I thought the 20s would last forever. And now I just realize how short time is, which has nothing to do with the topic. But it's interesting to see the shifts of who we were, who we are, and who we're gonna be. And talking about the 30s has me really excited because I'm genuinely looking forward to them. There was a time when I wasn't. Now I am, kind of, and on good days. But
On good days.
with
Yeah.
everything that people talk about, even friends of mine that have turned 30, they just seemed a lot more calm.
Mm.
It's really interesting. But yeah, Nicola is an incredible, incredible human being. Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you. for your amazing gifted self. Yeah, this is a little message to Nicola because honestly, I feel like the energy that she has really just depicts so much softness and kindness, but also discovery.
Mm,
Discovery more than anything, self-discovery.
yes.
And it's a journey that a lot of people I think relate to in self, but also hearing it is a relation to how their journey is going to unfold as well, but in different ways of her experience in her 20s and then now in her 30s. And I honestly have to say that sitting back and listening to your story, Nicola, is 100% inspirational. It really is. Everyone's story is, but yours is very inspirational as well. And watching you act is perfection. I don't know if you've ever seen any videos, Nina, of Dairy Girls. I've never seen Dairy Girls before. But when some of the videos started popping up on TikTok of just little snippets of Dairy Girls, oh my gosh, her character. The main one that I have seen is look at this steady you. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm going to send it to you if you haven't seen it. Um, oh my gosh, it's just funny, but truly a sensational person. Thank you for your acting and your gift and your skills and your talent and your amazing energy. No matter what anyone says as well, because people obviously lately have been online projecting. And I'm not going to say it's a large amount of people personally, but there are obviously going to be projectors where there is celebration and goodness and joy and experience. You'll have people that will have their little moments of I want to project. I want to reflect a different way that everyone else is in terms of negativity. Um, Beside all of that self crap, their self crap, like the energy just continues to be exactly as it should, which is good. And sending that as well over to her,
Yeah.
100%. There's just so many amazing people that, like with Geordie as well. Geordie's another one
Mm, yeah.
that has so much wisdom and guidance and has so much to share, and has Nicola as another. These are just some of the people that I think are great examples of the possibility. That's really what it's about. It's a possibility, and it might not unfold in the same way as Nicola, in the same way as Geordie, same way as Nina or myself, but it's about knowing, you all knowing that it does exist. And it doesn't discriminate either. The possibility of anything, I guess, or the possibility of your 30s being something completely different from your 20s doesn't
Mm,
discriminate. I do truly believe that the choices that we make in our lives, especially in our 20s, if it has unfolded a certain way, also assists massively into how your 30s turn out and how your 40s turn out. Essentially, all these people like Geordie and Nicola. And if you watch Geordie's episode, she does go into it a bit, you know. She went on her own discovery journey of psychic, or no, she doesn't really like psychic. I'll say she went on her own journey of mediumship and discovery. She had her moments of retract. She had a lot of those moments of retract, you know, and a lot of internalized things that she had to deal with. But the choices that she made, even through the difficulty of it and the fear of it and the uncertainty and even society's views, she still kept choosing herself. She still kept choosing her, even if when she was retracting, she
yeah.
still kept choosing, which has gotten her to this point. And
Yeah.
it's not to say that rainbows and sunshine will come from continually choosing yourself. We don't know, essentially. I can't even fully say that you might not have rainbows and sunshine, because you could, and I would love for you all to have an absolute glorious journey to discovery. Gosh, nothing more glorious than that. But essentially, even Nicola's story as well, you know, her 20s, she experienced, I think she said in an interview that she moved to London. Don't quote me, I could be wrong on the details, and that's okay. But from what I heard, she moved to London. She wasn't doing very well there. She was having a difficult time. So she moved back home, but she wanted to be an actress. She knew deep within her soul that she had to act. So essentially, she just kept doing it, even when it was like no possibility. That's kind of my way of how I've taken her story, is that she kept doing it even when there seemed like no possibility. Like there was literally nothing to give her that moment of, yeah, this is going to happen, sort of thing. This is a reality, or maybe potentially what it is today.
Yeah.
She might have not had a thought of this is what it would be like. Then she might have, I don't know. But bringing it back to the thought processes that many of us go through, we just don't see it as a possibility. And there's nothing around us that gives us kind of this light, even a small glimpse of the hope of that. And this is what this episode is also about, is giving you that, even a small glimpse of that light, might even just spark something, resonate in some way. We're not in our 30s, but we damn well have noticed, especially I've noticed, the amount of people that have started certain things and have transitioned majorly in that journey. Oh my gosh, I've told Nina about so many artists that I've come across. Even people, TikTokers, influencers, however they want to call themselves, content creators. I've followed them from the start, from the absolute start for some of them. And then you watch their transition. And I have had so many moments where I've sat back and I've thought, like, just this big smile on my face. And I'm like, I am so, so overjoyed for you. I'm so overjoyed for you because I watched you transition, I saw you go through that journey. And then when you hear the stories of people that have gone through it too, again, like the ones I've mentioned, like the people I've mentioned, it's just they're so empowering. And that's personally for me, yes. And I hope to pass that energy on. But they are empowering because, like I said, they're a show, they're a showcase, they're proof of the existence of hope, the existence of possibility. When you really, truly keep choosing you and you keep making choices for you intuitively, when you keep building upon that, there's so many layers to this. There's just so much to say with it, because depending on you as an individual and what your journey is, like personally, I had to build, and I still am, build on intuition to then make choices for myself out of intuition and not out of fear.
Yes.
And not out of from the head, but from the heart. Making it from the heart. What do I really want for myself? Not what others are telling me out of their own survival mode and their own fear. What do I want? Majority of what I have done in my life has been out of the fear and the survival mode of society and other people around me. So I had to really go through my own learning experience of blocking out the outside noise. Okay, I can validate their experiences and what they're going through, but they can't make decisions for my life. They will never live my life, only I will. And I stand firm on that. I've said that in many podcast episodes, that I live my life. I know what it feels like. I'm the one that sees it. I'm the one that goes through it. So as long as that's all as long as that is all a reality, which it will be, I will make the decisions. And my gosh, I have many moments that I question it. But at the same time, just like with Geordie, just like with Nicola and many other people, you still keep choosing yourself, even if you're wrong, even if you don't get it right. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't listen to intuition, but I still keep choosing to try. Because at the end of the day, I've been able to hold myself up. I will never rely on anyone else to. Nina's friendship, it reminds me of, how do I explain it? This is the best way I can explain it. When you're walking your journey in life, right? Imagine yourselves right now, if you want to. you're walking a path, like you're walking a valley, like the yellow brick road, right? It's just a valley, and then this yellow brick road, and you're walking it, right? It's just you, because it can only be just you when you're walking the journey of your life. And then I always picture Nina coming in, but she's kind of walking on the side because she can't be the yellow brick road for me. She can't be the person that steps in and takes over. She's just on the side and she's like, go, go, you can do it. Yeah, you're beautiful. Like all of her things. She's just saying that as I'm going, and then she pops out and then she pops back in and then she pops out. Like she has her moments because it's free will, right?
Yeah.
But the friendship offers so much support and energy and wisdom for that journey of walking that pathway. And it's a beautiful thing. The point is that Nina adds something to the journey, but she's not the journey, essentially. She's a part of it. And she oh God. She's a part of it, but she cannot be my journey. That's basically what I'm saying. And that's for any of you as well. That's why it's very important. And I preference it a lot that the choices that you make have to be for the good of you, for the highest good of you, healthy as well, responsibility, accountability, which I know can be difficult. And we definitely should do an episode on that one day to talk about the difficulties of that, but also the importance of it. So important to have accountability for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think friendships in general can add light to your life or keep you going, keep you motivated, keep you reassured to know that you're not alone. You're not walking this journey alone, even though it is you who has to take those steps towards what you want. It's very beautiful. And like you said, it is, for me personally, very inspiring to see people succeed in their 30s. I have the experience of watching friends hit their 30s and all of a sudden it's like they really come into themselves. They are living lives that their 20-year-old selves always dreamed of having. And that is so inspiring to me because when you really sit back and think about it, I think so much of the world, we've talked about it before, but so much of the world expects you to have it all together at 25 or in your 20s, within your 20s. And your 30s are supposed to be where you get to enjoy everything. And I think that unfolds in a lot of different ways. However, seeing people succeed in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, it keeps you with the mindset of there is no timeline for whatever it is you want in your life. There's only you taking the steps towards that. And eventually, if you don't give up or if you continue to unfold and learn and grow with whatever it is that you want and all the opportunities that do come your way, to never stop pouring into you, not give up on your dreams, on the dreams that have been given to you since, most people have their dreams since childhood, but even if it's something that has come later on in life, to not give up on that. And then that there are success stories just like that, where it shows you there is no timeline. Stop listening to people say there's a certain amount of time for you to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. If you buy a house, if that's your dream and you do it at 60, that's as much of an accomplishment as it is when you buy it in your 20s or 17 or 5, if that's the way you want to go with it. There is no timeline, there's just your journey. And sometimes I think this is something that I'm coming to as well. You're just going to have to go through the seasons where you don't know. I have had a conversation recently with family members where I was like, sometimes I feel like right now, especially in my life, I'm standing on a path and I'm seeing all the different paths in front of me, but there's like fog and I don't know which one to take. And it's really hard sometimes to have the courage to just step forward and take a path because I don't know if it's the right one. But the thing is, any path you take will lead you to the next thing that you need to be focusing on. And you will learn something from it that will help you manifest a version of yourself that then can hold the thing that you want to achieve. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm
Yeah.
speaking gibberish, but
You're
but
not speaking gibberish.
I
You
just
have
want to
so
make
much
sure.
wisdom.
I want to make sure because my brain is not braining. Um, no, you will develop throughout your life, throughout the experiences that you have in the past that you take, the skills necessary for you to own and hold and uphold the things that you truly desire. However, you have to be the one to take the steps. And that comes with
Mhm.
unfolding a lot of other people's opinions and reasonings and what they want you to do and how they want you to look and what they think is the best way to go about whatever it is that you want. No, people can give you advice, people can be a formula you can emulate, but they will never be you. Only you are you.
Mhm.
And I don't know, thinking of all these people that I've known that have stepped into their own selves in their 30s, thinking about the people that just a couple days ago I read comments from who were talking about it just gets better. I don't know how to explain it. It just gets better when you're in your 30s. It gives me motivation to keep choosing what my heart says I should want. And I want to preface this because this is something that I've heard quite a few times being said, that you can't trust your emotions and you can't trust your heart because it's fickle. Emotions are fickle, and I agree to a certain extent. However, when you know.
Mm.
It's been said on the internet, but when you know something is right, you feel that with every cell of your body. And I think for anybody on the outside saying you can't trust your emotions, what if something bad happens? That is just kind of going against your biology, if you will, your psychology. Because if something has been put in you and on you to pursue in life, you have every right to pursue that thing, no matter how outrageous it may seem. Last time I talked about Sandy being a surfer and somebody else being an astronaut. If you have it in your soul that, hey, I want to be an actress like Nicola, go do that. Take every opportunity that you can and follow in that path, no matter how crazy it seems. And if you want to keep going, keep going. Sometimes it'll come easy. Sometimes it might take a little bit of time for you to develop whatever it is that you want, but don't give up. Know that there is no timeline and that you can achieve whatever it is you want to achieve, but it has to be true to you. There
Mm.
I feel like sometimes, and this is something that I've uncovered in my time of aging, is that sometimes I have had dreams that didn't unfold, which my brain tries to then manipulate. Oh my God, you missed your time. You missed your time. You can't. It'll never come back. You wasted all these years. And it's like, wait a minute. If I dig down deep enough, those dreams were actually manifestations of something that was lacking that I needed growing up. They weren't actually going to fulfill me in the ways that I thought it would be. And now that I am fulfilled in the ways I need to be, I can actually go towards the dream that was originally underneath all those other things that I thought I wanted or needed in my life in order to be happy. And
Mhm.
I say this to be even more specific. If you are out there and you're like, I always wanted to be a musician, but I feel like I missed my time. If that is truly your intention to do music, to really make art, go make art. You don't need anybody else's time, approval, studio, whatever. You can do that in your own home now, which I think is incredible and amazing. Acting is a little bit different, I agree, but really try to see where it's coming from, your dream. Don't talk yourself
Mm.
out of it. Try to see where it's coming from. And when you come to the conclusion, okay, this is a genuine thing I really love to do and want to do, and something that I really want to embody in my life because I just breathe it. I can't imagine my life without it. Do everything in your power to possibly pursue that thing. And don't let anybody take you off that road. It's just, I had to get that rant out of my system.
It's a fair rant. It's not even a rant, it's just truth.
Yeah.
It's truth. It's Bible. Say
What is
Bible.
true will always remain at the end of the day. That's why you have to
Mm.
stick with yourself and just explore this life. I think the thing that always gets me sometimes, Ash, is the whole, if life's a play, why are you being so hard on yourself? If this is all fun and games, right? Why are you being so hard on yourself? Why are you looking at what other people are doing? Do you? Because that is the code that you need, the path that you need to take. It will give you the next steps of whatever it is that you need to be doing or unfolding in your life, or healing in one sense as well. But you have to follow what's in your heart, because without that, and then trying to teach people that they can't listen to their heart, I don't agree with that personally. But yeah, just
Society wants conformity.
yeah, yeah,
It's better to have people believe that there's no individualism than there is to
mm,
believe that free will exists.
yeah,
You know, it takes away a society that's built on the comfortability of those that don't like change, which is a lot
mm,
of people. Individualism breaks that. Individualism is the creative flow that breaks comfortability.
yeah,
And I feel like with a lot of people that don't like change, I feel like with a lot of people that do not like change, it's easy for them to take control of something that they think is chaotic and out of control and is going to disrupt that. As well as I feel like parents also want to have their children live out a life that they didn't get to live. There's many layers, as I always say, there's many different layers. But that's one thing I definitely stand firm on as well, is if I have children, they are individuals for a reason. I do not get to say how their journey unfolds. I am just, for me personally, I feel like I am the supporter and the guider, especially when they're young at a certain age. Yes, you have more of a responsibility. But if I'm talking when they are teenagers and adults and are discovering a lot more and more and more, because they will, I want no part of trying to control any ounce of their journey.
mm,
I'm there as guidance, but there's one thing I've learned about control in a society of human beings that do control and love to control, as well as there's no fault to that. There's also, as I said, the love to control aspect, um, is that it just doesn't work. You're trying to conform an individual to a life that you see fit. But the thing is, especially as a parent, the way that you view the world through your eyes, your child can't view the world that's the same way. It's not possible. They will see the world through their eyes, in their way, and they will absorb it in their own way. They'll learn about it in their own way, just as you had your ways of learning about it.
yeah,
And just as we have that example, society does the same with each other. We try to conform someone to the way that we see everything in the world. And there is guidance that resonates with some, and there's guidance that resonates with others, and there's some that don't, and blah, blah, blah. This is how unpredictable it is. This is why trying to conform an age limit to the way that life is meant to unfold makes no sense. It's actually, to me, it's illusion. It's just
mm,
such an illusion to think that you, no, to implement this kind of structure that you have to have all this by 25, that you have to have all this before you turn 30. I'll just say that you should have everything in place before you turn 30. It's just the biggest illusion that we follow, as well as many other things that I could totally point out. But for me, it doesn't make any sense. And it's one of our biggest downfalls, because we keep pressuring it on every single person that gets brought onto this planet, that is birthed onto this planet, I'll say. And then as they get older, we feed this programming to them. Sort yourself out in your 20s. Get it sorted. I want you to know what career you want. I want you to know who you are. How do you talk? How do you communicate? How do you see things? I want you to figure it all out by this timeline and this structure in this way. But that doesn't cater for the reality that many people face. Again, because, I'm an advocate and everything, I'm going to bring it in. It doesn't advocate for someone that has gone through excessive amounts of trauma, not even just trauma, dysfunctional family units, friend units. They all shift the narrative for people. If you have a hard time at school, if you're being bullied, that shifts that narrative for you. So the way that society perpetuates school is that you should go to school and it should be A plus and it should be such a flow and you should be such a smart and upstanding student. Absolutely. That's the perfection model that's relied on, right? And every student has to meet that standard. Every student. But the student that can't pay for their books, their uniform, the family that can't put food on the table affects that perfection. It affects their life. So then they struggle with their grades. Oh my God, I could go down a rabbit hole. I could so go down a rabbit hole with this because then the school system doesn't understand that the struggle of the family life and the home life and the environment in general, the emotional, the mental, the physical health that gets affected from that affects schooling as well, breaks the perfection model that they've created. Even if a student is thriving in their A's and they're constantly thriving, even that is an overexertion. If they have a parent in their ear, achieve, 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 what that does in future. Such a these are the things that this perfection model doesn't consider. I can feel the energy that Nina has something to say.
Yeah.
Say it. Go on, say it.
Also, getting A's is not a guarantee that you will succeed in life. Because when you get out of school, what's the first thing you notice? What's the first thing you learn? What's the first crash course for everybody listening?
Exactly.
Oh, this is completely different. School didn't prepare me for anything. They just prepared me to do tasks and to complete them well. This didn't set me up for life at all.
And to not question anyone.
Yes. And
To
to
not speak up.
follow the rules.
Follow the
follow
rules.
the rules. Yeah. And it's a business.
Submissive.
It's a business.
Oh,
School
yeah.
is a business. Let me not get into the prison industrial complex, but it's a business that gets run through the accomplishment of, let me put it this way, schools thrive when their students have a high grade turnover, simply because, oh my God, we need to have a teacher on this podcast. That's it. No, but I would love to have conversations with a couple teachers. No, but I think schools thrive off of the grades that students make because it keeps the system going. It keeps the schools in good ranking because schools have rankings. And I do not know everything about schools. I'm not a teacher. I'm not in the school district. I don't work there, but it is a system. It's turning kids over. That's why it's not really there to educate children. It's just about, can you complete this task? Is it a good grade, bad grade? If you're in a bad grade, you get transferred you get either held back or you get put into a different class. And it's just like you get typecasted on your productivity and how fast you work and how good you are, how good of a worker you are. It's not really there to feed and grow a mind, a soul, how you interpret things. It tells you what to see rather than teaching you how to see. And it's just, I was that kid that overachieved in school. And the second I got my first D in math, because math was always the worst subject for me, I was like, I'm a failure. I will never amount to anything in life. First response, I was 14 years old. And then I grew up and I learned, actually, your grades don't determine your income. Your grades don't determine how successful you are in life. Your grades don't determine your worth. Your grades don't determine anything. They're just a measuring system. And that goes back into the whole I want to understand. If anybody knows this, if anybody understands this, please comment. Why does society thrive on putting numbers on people? Are we all prisoners? A question, are we all prisoners? Because it's the grades, it's your weight, it's the followers, it's the car, it's the money you make. It's all numbers. And who is it benefiting? It's not benefiting life because it's literally degrading in front of us as we see it on every single spectrum. And your worth as a human being, this came to me as you were talking, Ashley. It's like we have so many beautiful children on this earth, not just children, human beings of all ages, who can grow and continue to learn and continue to evolve and who have their own interests in things. And do you have the availability to that? Is there availability to that? Can you grow in that way? Oftentimes it's hard. You have to go back to university to study something that you're interested in, no matter what year you're in, or not year, but like what age you're in. And it's like, why is there only one way of going about growing and evolving in certain countries? This is not in every country, but in certain countries. Germany is most definitely one of them. And sometimes you live in a place where that it doesn't allow you to grow at all as an adult. And it's like when you are already dealing with all this other stuff, right? Family wise, how you were raised, your mental health, the world, and how that is, it can feel so overwhelming that when you see success stories of people really, oh my God, I'm actually feeling good as I'm aging. That is like such a big bomb that goes off in people's heads because it's not something that we're taught growing up. We're taught, at least I was, you're good in school, you get out, you get a good job, you make good money, then you have a family, then you build a house, and then you die. And it doesn't really give way to the human experience, to the soul growth within us all. And it's just, I don't know. It's nice to see people beat that barrier, beat that stereotype. And more this is happening because as we age as a humanity, we are seeing that it takes a lot longer to achieve certain things, also because of political and stuff. But it's nice to know that people are now starting to get it maybe a tiny bit more than before, that your life doesn't end when you turn 30, because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, one more thing in regards to what you said, Ash. If you got everything together by the time you're in your 20s, you would be dead after that. Because that's the whole entire point of being alive, is for you to keep going, keep learning, keep growing. And if you got all of it together in your 20s, that's it. Okay, bye. You're back up in the sky. Like that's not how life works. Sorry. It's just not.
It's interesting because Nina was the overachiever, needing the A's and stuff. I literally was an F student. We're the complete opposites in that. I left school in year 10, after year 10 finished. I left school. F's. I've actually got a photo of one of my report cards, and the teacher was so mean. And everything's F's. She F'd me for everything. She F'd me for that. Sounds so wrong. I'm going to reword that. Yeah, she gave me F's for everything. And when we have a further discussion on what our experiences were like within the education system, back then, I'm very glad that people are awakened. I'm very grateful. I am very grateful. But one of the parts that I'm going to add into this of grief that I experienced was having to grieve me not having that experience that people are having now. Yeah, school was a very difficult time, obviously. And with being in that time when awareness wasn't seen and heard in terms of what students deal with as well. I know it's a difficult time right now with schools because current behaviors are coming up. These current behaviors are reflections of, the passed down ideologies, and there's just so much within that. But anyway, with the unawareness of reality, a lot of students like myself, we found ourselves at the end of the stick, you know? I don't mean like physical stick, I mean just sort of disregarded. No, not sort of, disregarded. Because, like you said, it's the achievement system, it's the needing of cycling through the greatest of the greatest. And even the fact that the high school I went to segregated, they had a class full of what they considered to be what they labeled as the smartest students, right? Even the fact that they had VCE and VCAL, and the stereotype was if you did VCAL, you were considered stupid, but if you did VCE, you were considered, oh yeah, you're going places,
Yep.
university, da 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 da. The stereotypical bullcrap, which just places you in a box and completely invalidates your learning, who you are, your creative flow. You have a student that attends school and their creative flow is music, right? There's music classes, but they're not dedicated to, teaching you music like they're dedicated to teaching you mathematics,
Right.
you know? There's so much within that.
I feel like you have, in my opinion, from my perspective, it is better when you have been through that disappointment in school, because when you do overachieve and you try so hard for grades and then you get out and you make that realization of, oh, this everything that I strive for doesn't matter at all. Like all these years of struggling, studying myself to death, it's wasted. And by the way, we have that here in Germany to a worse perspective, to a worse extent, sorry, where it's like you have three versions of middle school. One is, I don't know all of them anymore. Gymnasium is kind of if any Germans are here, is kind of where the super smart kids go after elementary school, which is quite young, which is kind of middle high school. And only the people that get into that class or that school go to university. Only those. There are two other archetypes where you go to. The middle one is kind of like, yeah, you may have an opportunity to go to a university, but it's probably going to be really hard and you're going to have to do a lot more to get in. And then you have the first sector, which is kind of the worst aspect. That's where the unruly ones go. That's where the poor kids go. That's where the whatever goes. That isn't encompassing the levels where the other two are. That's where you don't go anywhere. You're there. You finish that form of schooling and you're done. You have to get into I've brought this up a couple times. In German, it's called Ausbildung, which is essentially a work, like, you know how mechanics go to mechanical school? It's like dependent on the subject in which you want to go into, but it's very limited here. Those are the jobs you can do. You don't have the opportunity to go to university at all, which is where me moving to America was fantastic because that opened up a lot more stuff. But that is where it came from. This whole, I have to achieve this. I have to get A's. I have to do this because if I don't, my whole entire future will be ruined. And I sometimes had the perspective getting out of school where I was like, I don't know. I feel like if you have that reality check of like real life is here and this is school, it sets you up mentally maybe a little bit more resistant. And this isn't for everybody. This is just my interpretation of what it feels like to be on the opposite side, where it's like you have reality of what life is every single day, day in, day out, and this is school. And school doesn't determine. It's shit. Sorry, it's crap, and it's
You can say
unfair.
shit.
We'll keep it in. It's crap, and I feel like crap for not getting the opportunity for getting Fs, but at the same time, I don't have the illusionment of it as deeply ingrained as those kids who think that if they get straight A's every single day of every single year within their school lives, they will get somewhere because It won't. It gets you in school, but it doesn't get you through
Mm,
life. Your A's and your B's, they don't determine your outcome. And I actually think people who are more in I don't know if there's a word for it, but people who don't get the best of grades. I didn't always get the best of grades either. I just have to say I wasn't a straight A student. I wish. Well, actually, no, I don't wish. But but I think those people tend to be, like you said, a lot more artistic. Their brains work differently. And you have people who thrive on creativity and free flowing things. And then you have people who thrive on with brains on analytics and numbers and this and that. And to put
mm.
all those kids together in one school, say these are the top students, these are the not so good students, here are the grades, you're terrible, you're amazing. It's just it's ignorant. And I wish the system would be different. Just my opinion. You can let me know if that resonates or if that makes sense or if you disagree.
No, it's a great conversation to have because one side that you can offer is your perspective on, the overachieving stance
Yeah,
and the validation that you're taught to seek and to keep
right,
seeking
right.
and to keep building and finding, even if it's an illusion, you just taught to keep going, right? And again, I don't know what the current, I'm not fully aware of the current circumstances of the education system. Obviously, I'm not in school, so how it unfolds. You hear stories and stuff, but back then, I can only speak on that. It was the way that it unfolded was that if you weren't getting the grades that you're meant to, if you weren't really showing up to school the way that you were apparently meant to, right? You weren't seen as a student of prioritization. You weren't seen as someone
Mm,
that could move forward in life. So you were
right.
disregarded.
Yeah,
This was personally my experience as well as many
yeah,
others, right? You're
yeah.
disregarded. So they don't have any expectations of you. Yeah. But they also, while they don't have expectations of you, they don't see you as an ever achieving person. You are
Mm,
put as like a lower class, someone that is
yeah,
not going to go anywhere in life. The stereotypical crap is placed on
yeah,
your shoulders so that no teachers help you because they have
right.
no expectations of you. They don't try. They don't want to try. They will ignore you. If you don't do your homework, I swear, some of the situations that I occurred in year 9 and year 10 was that they really didn't care. And some people may say, that's great. I don't want to be seen and cared about. But I didn't learn. They didn't give me opportunities. There was only
Yeah.
one teacher through my entire high school time. And I think I had him 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row. He was the only one that actually tried, the
Wow.
only one that tried.
Wow.
Everyone else gave up. And look, I'm not
Um,
putting out a fault because I don't know the circumstances of the teachers and I know
right.
it's exhausting. You have so many students. I can
Yeah.
understand the layers to this, right? I can understand that. But a moment that you are slapped with the label of nothing
Yeah.
and the energy and the projections are within that, you are nothing, you will not
Right.
achieve. Because I remember having that said to me too, like, it's very clear, Ash, that you're not going to be going anywhere in life because you clearly don't care.
Mm,
It's a very easy stance to have when you don't understand the student that is standing in front of you. Oh, well, we can't. We have so many students. I also have to say too that we do get to choose our jobs in this sense.
mm,
I'm going to put that out there. We do get to choose if you're a counselor, if you're a teacher, if you're a therapist, if you're a tradie. You don't get to choose what unfolds in the environment in a lot of ways, yes, but choosing teaching, even choosing to be a counselor, is being aware that the kind of clients that you're potentially going to have, the kind of students that you're potentially going to have, the reality of even having human beings in your space, the depiction of life in general and how that unfolds in many different aspects and ways. It's not about invalidating anyone, but it is about reality that a job such as teaching is a spectrum of lives, is a spectrum of different realities. And I really do feel like, however that whole topic is going to process, well, maybe one day we'll save it for one day
Yeah,
to go further into that. But
yeah,
I guess the main point of the opposite side is that when you're seen as nothing, there is no effort given to those that are considered as that.
yeah,
So when you go through life, and if someone else, not talking about myself, but if someone else is constantly met with the same projection and their mindset is now cycling through the I am nothing, will never achieve anything, they will unfold their lives like that. They
right.
won't
Yeah,
go for things because they think,
yeah,
no, I clearly can't achieve it because I didn't achieve school. They told me I'm a failure, so I can't do this.
right.
So they
Yeah,
constantly strive underneath their true capability because they don't even know what their capability is.
right.
They don't even
Yeah,
know what their possibilities are for them.
yeah,
They've been they've been taken and shaped into this version of impossibilities. Is that
yeah,
even the right word? Is that Does that even
yeah, yeah,
exist?
yeah, yeah,
Impossibilities? Yeah.
yeah.
They've been shaped in that way that life doesn't seem like a possibility.
True. Yeah,
Speaking from the other side. I feel
yeah.
like, again, it's not about one and back and forth kind of
Right, right.
shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a depiction of different angles that is,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, are both, I feel like, quite difficult for those that go
Yeah,
through it.
yeah. That's true. Yeah. There's no
But
winner here.
school, there's no winner in any aspect
Yeah,
of the entirety of life and the human experience, even if your life unfolds in your utmost desires, right? If you really think about it, it will still come with its challenges. It's just how
mhm,
you react to them,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
That's my way of seeing it. I think
yeah.
more like, I'm still trying to figure out the best way of describing it myself because winner feels, I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll let you know when I figure out a way that I like to correspond
Yeah,
life to. I used schooling as a depiction of what really pressures you into feeling like you need to have certain things structured in place. What adds to you thinking that you need to have every single thing in control and planned out and structured and programmed? What makes you believe that you're a failure if things don't go a certain way? It's not just schooling, it's family, it's friends, it's everyday life, it's movies, it's magazines, it's social media. It's literally everything, to be honest, you know, that will potentially hold up a mirror to you and say, have a look at yourself. You're not where you should be at your age. You're not doing what you should be doing. You haven't achieved what you should have achieved. Look at you. You're a failure. They hold up the mirror so easily to people. But this is the thing that I truly, again, stand so firm on, like many things, is that the people that hold that mirror up are going by the same mirror that was held to them. And
mhm,
it wasn't for the highest good of them, just as it's not for the highest good of you. Because if it was for the highest good of you, they wouldn't be holding it up in the first place. No one could ever try to depict your journey and say that that's for your highest good when they're not living your life and they never will live your life. There's no validation for the things that have unfolded in your life. Because, like I said before, who knows I don't know what you've experienced, but I damn well know that things can really change our entire lives. Like losing a parent can make people go from this direction completely
yeah,
to another, you
yeah,
know? Losing a job can make someone go from that way to that way.
yeah,
You know, it's drastic changes. Life is so unpredictable and it can shift you in an instant.
yeah,
Childhood trauma, not even trauma, but just like limiting beliefs and insecurities, fear, mental health conditions. This is what these structures do not cater for, and they never will. They're invalidating to you, they're invalidating to your existence, and your life. They're not here to help you. Use them as a guide if that's what you want, right? But the timeline of it, if you want to go to university, you want to get married and have children, please, if that's what you desire in your heart, go for it, right? But the timeline of it and the structure of it has to happen here, has to happen there. I know if you want that, it's valid to want it, right? But it is a suppressive thing for you and only for you to sit there. Let's say you're sitting on the end of your bed and you're thinking about it and you're like, I'm a failure because I haven't gotten married and I'm like 29 years old. I clearly am unlovable. I'm clearly the problem. And then you start to get into this mental cycle of limiting beliefs, and then depression kicks in or anxiety kicks in. Insecurities just start to fester more and more within. All of this stuff that only hurts you. And then 2 years later, you meet the person, you meet your soulmate. You don't know. 5 years later, it's about releasing the timeline, which is, it's been quite hard. It's been hard, 100%. I still have my moments, 100%. This is not a perfection model here, but I do know that it's not for the highest good of self. Because the moments, like Nina said, how she's had moments where she has sat back and thought, I should have been doing this by now. I should have had that done. She has her moments where she thinks, I haven't done all these things. And where's my life? Like when she has thoughts like that, right? So have I. And I sit there and I think, oh my gosh, I'm 28 years old and look where I am. And look at all these other people doing all these other things. And then you go through the grief mode of that. But then I think to myself, I can grieve over not having the life that I wish I had. I can grieve over that and I can validate that. But where I am today, it unfolded the way it did because of the way my life happened. It had to happen this way. Because like we said in the last episode, right? Our healing journey had to happen because if it didn't happen, we wouldn't be these people that we are. We wouldn't be the people that we are today.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be. We would have taken those cycles and the generational shit and the toxic shit, all the shit, and we would have passed it through our 30s and our 40s and our 50s. The people that we are, we wouldn't be, put it that way, right? It had to happen the way that it did. And I don't mean the traumas and the situations either. I don't validate the experiences, right? I validate the choices that I made to heal, right? I had to heal and I had to go through those years of healing to be where I am today and to be able to sit here and speak the way that I am and present myself the way that I am. It had to happen. And that meant that it didn't unfold. My life didn't unfold the way society depicts it. But again, just to say, right, how could it? With the way that things happened, how could it? So again, proof, it doesn't cater for the way that my life turned out. It's just invalidating and then making me think, oh my gosh, like more problems upon stuff that's already happened. Like I'm already a problem because I'm not married and I haven't done this and I haven't done that. No, the issue is the depiction that this is how it should have gone. The issue is trying to control it when we're all individuals. There's 8 billion people, I think, on this planet. To ever believe that 8 billion people's lives are going to unfold within one depiction of life is, again, to me, just such an illusion. It's an illusion to ever think that each of us are going to live the same life and like the same things. I've said this so many times, as if we're going to like the same things. Seriously, we're going to look the same way, be the same people. You don't like fish? Well, guess what? I do. I love fish. I have a tank. If you don't like fish, don't have fish. That's the beauty of individualism. You get your choices, and so do I. But these kind of structures do not allow choice. They don't allow free will. They don't allow human life. and there's no validation towards it.
Yeah. I also I've been feeling this very deeply since you've been talking. It's just thinking about past generations. When you think about us being in our 20s, they may have had houses, people like in the 60s, 50s, 60s, they had their houses when they were like 20 something, but they went through wars. They went through trauma that to us in a lot of developed, safe countries, I say safe, quote unquote, under the illusion of safety, countries never have to experience. So we in our 20s compared to that time are much further in our understanding, in our psychology, and aspects in life that they weren't able to grasp, if at all. And so I think life works through us in generations, and they make us better. Life makes us better through the generations and grows us in that time. And when you think about how long that is, why would you think that you can get it all together in 20 years or in a certain amount of time? There's this quote, very famous: life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Life will, if you have things that you would like to do, places you would like to be, things you would like to achieve, give that to whatever you believe in, give that to yourself, write it down, whatever you feel comfortable with, and then let life get you there. You can make plans, you can have a strategy, but like Ashley said, don't try to control it, because life, I think the illusion in and of itself that human beings can control anything, life in and of itself is just, we see how much damage that has done to Earth, to us as a society, to animals. It has only brought destruction. So if you continue to hold on to ropes so tightly, thinking it's going to steer you, you're going to steer yourself to the perfect thing, you're only going to ruin yourself in the process, because you're not allowing life to give you something better, or to give you something in the place of what you thought you wanted for something that you actually needed. So yeah, very
It kind of
wise.
is
Ashley, you're very, very wise.
even just that sometimes it's hard. It's hard to I guess speak on a lot of this stuff, because there's just so many underlining, like I keep saying, there's just so many underlining layers, the generations as well, and what they evolved through.
Right.
A lot of those structures came from past generations, and I've spoken about this so many times. It's just been passed down, but it's been warped into that generation's way of seeing it and taking it in.
Yeah.
So again, that's probably something to say too to a lot of you, is that these structures are old. These belief systems are old.
Yeah. Very.
They don't work.
Yeah.
And never did work. You know how many stories I've come across on, I actually came across a TikTok video of she was talking about how her grandmother, like her grandfather passed away. And when he passed away, her grandmother literally just sold everything, and then just went on this, like she went on a holiday or a cruise or something like that. She remarried, and this woman was talking about how this is the first time she'd seen her happy
Wow.
and in love. You know? And this is not the first time I've seen these videos before.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about the structures of, like I spoke about in one of our episodes, getting married, right? But the getting married doesn't cater for if there is actually healthy love there. If love is even there in the first place. And a lot of these structures revolve around just doing, just having it. Because like I spoke about in another episode too, and I used Bridgerton as an example back in the Regency era, a lot of the things they did was because of society. Do it because of society. And this is the same thing with a lot of these structures. They want you to live out your life the way that they want you to for society, for the validation of society. Because what happens if you're not dressing the way society wants you to dress? People make you feel uncomfortable. They comment, they stare. That sounds awfully familiar. That sounds like we're still doing it like the Ton does it in Bridgerton, because we still are.
Yeah.
It's just in our version. It's in our generation. There's a new image to it now. So a lot of these structures are so old and outdated that I just think we've spent so long living in it and not questioning it that it's time to question it and really ask yourself, what do you want?
Yeah.
And if you say, well, I can't have it because other people are telling me not, it's quite unfortunate if there are certain circumstances with parents and underage and stuff. But essentially, if you are an adult and you're able to make those decisions, it is a case of, well, what needs to happen for you to be in the space that you want to be in for the life that you deserve to live for yourself? And that's a whole pathway right then and there that we won't go into right now. But like I've said for majority of this episode, and again, another thing to stand firm on is only you live your life and you see it and you feel it and you experience it. So for me, I will make the difficult choices, and I already have. Oh my gosh. The crumbling of my life was the grief, going through the grief of that, but I would do it again. Truly, I would do it again. If I had to go through it and watch everything that I thought was structured in place and was going to be a part of my life, watch it crumble again, I would, because it had to. It really had to. It was old, it was outdated, and it wasn't working. And I was miserable because of so many things that were a part of my life. So I would choose it over and over again, even if it's difficult, even if I'm scared, even if I'm freaking fearful, I would choose it if it is the best thing for me. If it's for my highest good, I would choose it. Even if that meant losing people, which has already happened. Even if it means that. Even if it means just being with me, which has happened. And a lot of people don't like being alone. And I was one of them. I put my hand up to that. It was difficult transitioning from having people around to basically no one really, in a way.
Yeah.
Nina's in Germany, so I can't really say that. She's not physically here. But transitioning from that, I would still choose it all, because the way that my life was essentially was not working. It was not. Nothing about it was working. Nothing about it was giving me life or even showing me a glimpse of what the possibilities of life is really like, the hope of that. So I will continue to try to choose it as much as I possibly can. And I'm okay if sometimes I don't and I retract, because this isn't a perfection model. But again, that is the guidance that I hope to pass on to anyone that resonates too, is even when it's difficult, and they say things like, even if you're fearful, you do it through the fear. They say things like that. If the difficult choices have to be made for you to be in such a more, if the difficult choices have to be made for you to be in a more peaceful state or space or a safer space, choose you. Choose you.
Absolutely. And it is not a selfish thing to choose you, because if you stay with where you're at, where you're unhappy, you will die 1,000 deaths long before your body ever, hits the ground. And you're worthy of living a life that is true to what you desire. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, not, at the expense of other people's lives or pain or anything like that, but you are worthy of living safely and being happy, having more moments of happiness rather than every single day is just misery. So take yourself out of the spaces, the places, the people, the whatever that is causing you that misery. Because at the end of the day, once you realize that you're no longer being served in that situation, it can turn into a point of self harm, even to stay within it and try to fix things or hold on to it or manipulate it. It's better to let it go, even if it hurts. And I promise to anybody listening, you will be okay. It might not be a linear transition. There might be some really hard times in between, but it is always worth it to fight for what you want rather than to settle for what you don't want. Yeah.
We are the proof.
Currently in
We're here.
motion, yes.
We're alive. We're alive. Some days we want to scream and some days we do, but we're here. We're doing this and we're still rolling.
Yes. But guys, thank you very much for joining us for this episode. We're going to leave you with that because I don't have any songs to sing unless Ashley wants to sing. If she wants to take the stage.
Take the stage.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in. Take care of yourselves. Know that you can do anything at any point in time. You can change your life. And you don't need anybody else. There will be people to help you along the way. You're not alone. But once you make that decision, that is the vital point. You need to make that decision for yourself. So, yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.